Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
This message comes from Greenlight. Ready to start talking to your kids about financial literacy? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app that teaches kids and teens how to earn, save, spend wisely, and invest with your guardrails in place. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Join millions of parents and kids building healthy financial habits together on Greenlight. Get started risk-free at greenlight.com/Spotify.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
El futuro tiene nada más que la confrontación.
Hey, welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. I used to host a podcast called Unpopular Opinion, and that podcast was this podcast. But then everyone else in the world decided they liked the name Unpopular Opinion a lot too, so we changed the name to You Don't Even Like This Show. Each week, me and a couple of guests selected from a pool of the absolute sharpest minds the LA entertainment scene has to offer use this here space to talk about whatever the hell we want. News, pop culture, politics, information, you name it, we talk about it. And sometimes my co-host Jeff May is here too. It's a blast. You're gonna love it.
Hey everybody. Welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show, podcast about fascism. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. Joining me as co-host this week, my favorite co-host of all. No co-host, but I do have a fantastic guest. You know him. You love him. Danger Van Gorder's here.
Hi, everybody. Very happy to be with you in solidarity.
I tell you what, I've been trying to wrap this podcast up, transition to the Monday show, and Donald Trump will not let me. Because this was supposed to be just like a happy-go-lucky clips show to, we're going to do a few final episodes. Last week was the farewell tour part 1. This is the farewell tour part 2. It was going to be a clip show, but then the United States military invaded Los Angeles, which is where I live.
Yeah, we live there.
Yeah, and it seems like we should talk about that shit a little bit before we transition to the wackiness of the Monday show, which will also be about fascism, probably.
But here's the thing is, I don't even like fascist incursions into my home city.
I wasn't sure if I would, and it turns out I don't. It turns out I am not a fan whatsoever.
There are some things you don't need hard evidence for, but right on.
Yeah, the protests have been happening since, was it Friday? I believe they started.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I certainly got notified that there were some broad scale shenanigans going on. I think the actual actions started on Thursday because on Friday, I got a call from somebody I trust very much, Burbank City Council member Constantine Anthony, who said, hey, come on down to Burbank Airport. They are using our airport to move ICE abductees. And we went out there and spoke to one of the employees at the little charter airline next door. And they said, yeah, this is the second time we've seen them use that gate. Yes, it's at least starting on Thursday. Thursday was quiet. Friday it was like the alarm started going off, and Saturday, Sunday, things started getting pretty mass scale.
Yeah. Were you at any of the downtown LA protests?
I was at all of that stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like?
I mean, first, let me get into what happened at the Burbank Airport. There's a service entrance on the west side. Now, I and a significant number of people have been protesting against Avelo Airlines for since the beginning of May, because they are taking ICE flights out of Mesa, Arizona, and then they're trying to go off business as usual over here in Burbank. And we're like, no, you ghouls, you don't get to operate as a normal family-friendly airline while you get to, while denying people their basic human rights in other cities. We didn't think, though, that given our status as a sanctuary city, sanctuary state, that we would see any ICE flights out of goddamn Burbank Airport. So on the western side, there's a service entrance for like small scale charter planes. I show up after getting that call. There's maybe four or so other people. What had happened was an LA ICE rapid response team member, which is a volunteer who stayed near the ICE facility and just watched it. They saw a bus leave. They got into their car. They followed that bus all the way to the Burbank Airport, where it was shooed basically immediately onto the tarmac, where 2 Air Charter Express planes were waiting. Shout out to Air Charter Express, aka Freight Runners, operating out of Milwaukee. Go to hell, you fascist profiteers. Go to hell. Yeah, I mean, we can't boycott them as easily because they're not public facing in the way that Avelo is. This is an airline for freight and for like basketball teams. But yeah, and then we got all this information of, okay, there's going to be multiple flights out of Burbank Airport. They're all going to San Antonio. We can't see who's getting off the bus. They've got the buses arranged that you can sort of see people like for a split second as they go between the bus and onto the plane. The charter airline next door, Million Air, who had nothing to do with this, they're like, we are obligated by federal law to open that gate, and we don't know who these people are. Sometimes it's medical transport, whatnot. But those flights kept moving. So we put it out there like, this is happening, it's real. And then what was it, Saturday, there was a rapid response march, right? Because ICE isn't arresting quote-unquote criminals anymore. They're going into schools. Well, look, low-hanging fruit. I'm sure there was a small percentage of people who have been here for a while who have committed some sort of large-scale crime.
Well, just like statistically, they're going to catch some criminals in
sure. Yes.
Mass amounts of
But you don't satisfy Stephen Miller's ghoulish quota of 3,000 bodies per day by just going after criminals. There aren't that many criminals.
That's the thing. These people who are like, well, he promised he was just going to go after the criminals and the bad guys. He also said 10 to 13 million people. Do that math. There are not that many fucking criminals, citizens or otherwise, in this country.
Well, I mean, that's why you hear the term illegals thrown around so much. So first of all, a person is not an illegal. These are people. There are millions of people who are here who have been checking in on a regular with immigration authorities, saying like, look, I've been here for a decade. My children, this is the only place they've ever known. I am complying with the law by showing up to the courts and saying, here I am, I'm still working. Here's all my vital information. This is the process that ICE is interrupting at the courthouse, taking people from these hearings and putting them on a bus to be put on a plane, to be flown to another state, or sometimes an entirely other country. That is the unconscionable thing. That is why we have started to get into the protest mode and rage against the machine. But then they step it up. Then ICE steps it up because let's ground things a little bit more too. What happened last week that we are no longer talking about? Elon and Trump had their little fight, and Elon's, let's talk about the Epstein files. Trump's in the Epstein files, which we knew.
Yeah.
But if we can get more credible, if we can get more dialogue around, hey, Donald Trump is probably a pedophile, that might affect the grander narratives at play in our country. And also what's happening next week. Well, actually, this weekend at this point, it's Trump's birthday. So happy birthday, Trump. Let's terrify an entire population. Let's deploy military-style raids against our own people. Because whether or not the right wing want to accept this or not, immigrants are our people. They are Americans. They are Californians. They are working their way towards citizenship, which is a long, laborious, labyrinthine process. So in complying with these orders, and some people were getting text messages saying like, hey, we know there's a lot of chaos going on. So basically, surprise check-in. Can you please come into the courthouse and just do a surprise check-in? It'll bing, bang, boom. We'll get you out of here. That was fraudulent basically, because it came from ICE. People showed up, they were snatched. So these military style raids, man, like going in, disrupting people's workplaces, people's schools, terrifying the community, that is what prompted such a significant response on Saturday.
Yeah. And that thing where they are snatching people at the court appearances that they've been going to for years and years and years, how do they not realize that's just going to make people too scared to check in at court like they have been? So then you're just going to lose track of people altogether and make your whole fucking thing even harder.
Well, I mean, it's not harder for the immigration authorities if their whole goal is, we don't want to naturalize these people anymore. We want to capture and expel them. That's Stephen Miller, baby. That is, how am I older than the most prominent white supremacist Nazi in America? I think I'm older than him by like 2 months. He's from Santa Monica. Like, we probably saw Star Wars Episode 1 around the same time. Like, I can't believe this person is my peer in the generational sense.
Yeah, you mentioned the military parade that's happening.
Oh, I didn't mention the military parade, but let's get into the military parade.
No, you mentioned it a little bit. But what happened in downtown LA last night, I posted this on Blue Sky. That is the fucking military parade. I don't know if people are expecting that someone like me is going to come out the other end of this praising Gavin Newsom for the military not being the ones who broke up that protest in downtown LA, because that's not going to fucking happen. I'm not going to give that dude kudos, because instead he just sent the most heavily militarized police force in the world in to break it up. It's like, yay, we didn't send the military in. We don't have to anymore. We don't have to send the military after protesters. The police are the military now. That's what last night felt like to me. I don't buy for a fucking second that Gavin Newsom dislikes or opposes what's happening in California right now. Last night, to me, felt like Gavin Newsom auditioning for the police state. And I think it went really fucking well for him.
Yeah. I had to take a break yesterday. I had been basically 5 days running, being extremely active. And so my Tuesday was my ethics cheat day, I guess let's call it. So let's stick with the timeline. I would like you to build on last night for me, for my benefit here, after we played out for everybody else. Because we got a lot of people on here who are paying attention, but maybe they haven't seen anything of like what it actually like on the ground was looking like. So Saturday, there was a pretty broad scale protest called by a bunch of just a ton of organizations all at the same time. 5051, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, just you name it. There was a detachment from these groups there. So all stripes, from your pink hat folks to more hardcore like Black Bloc anarchist type people. And started at Grand Central Park and City Hall, and then marched I want to say 3 or so city blocks over to the federal ICE detention facility, which is right near City Hall.
Yeah.
And people are giving a lot of criticism for seeing mostly Mexican flags. Yeah, the boldest souls among us are the people who are getting up in the front lines. I think they're carrying more Mexican flags than American flags, but I was carrying the American flag. I was seeing lots of other people carrying the American flag. I saw a Ukrainian flag. I saw a Salvadoran flag. This is a multicultural expression of solidarity, saying like, don't fuck with Los Angeles. Get ICE out of LA. That was the name of the protest, ICE out of LA. So we get to the ICE detention facility, and I had made a promise to my wife that I would not put myself in a situation where I could be arrested. And because I love her very much and I want to go home to my kids, I try to keep a respectful distance from where the spiciest activity was happening.
Yeah.
And so I could see the line of LAPD, specifically LAPD, in front of this ICE facility. And people are dancing, people are shouting, people are like, when we say peaceful protest, that doesn't mean they're quiet, and that doesn't mean they're gentle. Like, they're not all singing songs, though many of them are. Peaceful protest means nonviolent, and nonviolent means they're not smashing things. No one is lighting things on fire. At the ICE detention facility, at, what is it, like 2:30 or 3 o'clock on Saturday. Nothing was on fire. There was no smashing. There was graffiti, but you know what? Graffiti washes off.
Man, I posted a thing also on Blue Sky the other day. That's all you need to know when it comes to how much destruction is happening, is the degree to which they're talking about spray painting buildings. This is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Those buildings are going to get spray painted every fucking day, whether there is a protest or not. Graffiti is such a huge part of LA culture. So fucking miss me with, oh, they're painting buildings and wrecking our city. Our city looks better when the buildings get graffitied.
Yeah, the big difference was the graffiti came out like 2 blocks closer than it usually stops. That's it. And the graffiti also had a very consistent theme. And the consistent theme was fuck ICE, fuck Trump.
Yeah.
That was like almost all the graffiti I saw was just those 3 words, different permutations of those.
And that moment you're talking about, like on Saturday when the protest was kind of just starting, people can, I'm sure it's online somewhere, but fucking CNN was filming when that happened. There was nothing to prompt the police moving forward the way they did, which I think it was Homeland Security actually at that point. But that crowd did nothing. They were just standing there. Even that CNN reporter was like, they didn't do anything.
Yeah.
There's no reason for them to be reacting the way they are. Like, it's clear they wanted a confrontation.
Let's describe that reaction, though. The reaction of a line of either LAPD or Homeland Security. I saw black helmets with the face shields. Okay, and people holding the those single shot, like they call them less lethal, but sometimes they still kill people. But those weapons, which are, as I will get into a little bit later, extremely serious weapons. So we all get to the ICE facility. We're chanting ICE out of LA, and then we start hearing flashbangs. Now let's start. It started with flashbangs. You know who didn't have flashbangs? The protesters.
Right.
We did not shoot anything. We did not fire off anything. There's nothing except for, wow, there sure are a lot of them that might have made people concerned. But that line, that thin blue line, was intact. There was no breach of the line. We were on the other side. We were exercising our First Amendment rights to assembly and speech. Flashbangs, which hurt, guys. Like, it hurts to be near a flashbang grenade. That's what they are. They are sensory grenades. The response from the crowd, which is now being ascribed as, oh, look, they were violent all along, was water bottles, and I think I saw a rock. So think about this as you're scanning the news. Have you seen a single report of a cop getting shot? Have you seen a single report of any law enforcement officer being affected with anything other than their own pepper spray? I saw one appear to be a Homeland Security or a CHP guy in a Mexican restaurant getting doused with milk, and a couple of people fanning him because he had been pepper sprayed. I have to assume, like, we're not bringing pepper spray to these things. The point is nonviolent expression. And let's do the song and dance. Let's clear the air. There will always be a small percentage of shitty people who are going to try to take advantage of these situations to let loose and torch a Waymo car. Like, that sucks. Don't do that. Don't loot. But that's not the narrative. That is the convenient excuse that media figures who have to have some degree of sensationalism and or the entire right wing who want to ignore what we are demanding, which is justice. They want to say, those people are being violent. Boom, it's car on fire. Oh my God, there's a smashed windshield on one of those cop cars. Therefore, the tear gas, the less than lethal rounds, all the flashbangs, all the arrests are warranted.
I saw a reporter on KCAL get legitimately mournful about what it was going to cost to clean up tire marks that were left in an intersection. It's like, lady, people are getting black bagged and sent to gulags in El Salvador. And you're fucking talking about tire marks in the intersection, which you don't even clean those. Weather does that. And if there was a person whose job it was to do that, they're probably on an Avello flight to a gulag right now.
Oh, Jesus.
The coverage of this is so frustrating because you hear so little about, well, yeah, but they're like kidnapping people off the street. and sending heads of household to countries they haven't lived at for decades.
Taking parents away from their crying children.
Yes.
Who then have only the community to take care of them.
But I'm supposed to be sad because a mom and pop store got fuck ice spray painted on front.
Yeah. Have you seen any broken windows? Have you seen any injured police officers? Like, I keep hearing like LA's finest, we can handle this. But I'd like to relay one more story from Saturday. After a tactical retreat, I got a whiff of tear gas. I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here before this gets worse. And I beat back all the way to City Hall because I was asked to speak to the 5150 crowd. The 5150 crowd ended up staying towards the ICE detention facility. So much the better. That's where they belonged. That was where the speech needed to happen. The freedom of speech needed to happen in downtown at that ICE facility, like calling attention to the barbarism of it all, to the barbarism of our federal state and the federalized National Guard. I mean, the militarized police with itchy trigger fingers who are supposed to be disciplined, who are supposed to be better at controlling themselves. Because at the end of the day, they're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I trust that, sure, it's scary to be on the other side of a crowd of thousands, and that sticks with you. It must. But, man, like LAPD specifically are just so trigger happy. It is repulsive. So I'm at City Hall and I see somebody kind of limping over. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. And then the guy standing next to me is like, hey, neighbor, you all right? And I took a tear gas canister in the side. Okay, so first of all, my dad trained cops. So when I was a teenager, I went to a lot of these training programs and I saw very inspiring people who would be excellent police officers, people who I would trust in an emergency. I saw people who were middle of the road, and then I saw people who was like, yeah, I don't think you should be doing this. But I mean, like, all the sorts of control yourself first, maintain your own safety first, like that training, like police officers training is save yourself first, then save property. So like, yeah, they have to defend themselves. Again, I'm going to beat this drum the entire time. They were not in danger because the protesters did not have weapons. All right.
This episode is brought to you by Pluto TV. Summer of cinema is here, and Pluto TV is exploding with thousands of free movies. Feel the explosive action all summer long with movies like Gladiator, Beverly Hills Cop, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, Good Burger, Stealth, Four Brothers, and Star Trek. Bring the action with you and stream for free on all your favorite devices. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never. Stream now at Pluto.tv.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields. Love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
Clorox Sentiva smells like grapefruit. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
Okay, we could be here all day. Try Clorox Sentiva for a trusted clean with long-lasting freshness. Also available in lavender and coconut. Use as directed.
I already love same-day delivery with Shipt, but it's so much better since I signed up for Target's Circle 360. Why? Because I no longer pay price markups from the majority of stores through Shipt. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. That means no markups on groceries, pet food, even home goods and makeup. So to recap, I have more time to catch up on life while someone shops for me, and I spend less. It's a win-win. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
Choice Hotels gets you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Like these road trippers making waffles and eating fresh fruit in their natural habitat. The breakfast area at a Comfort Inn. I just love seeing a vacation maximized in the wild. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
I've watched so much coverage of this, and it has not gotten violent at all. You're right. There's occasionally a bottle or a rock is thrown. It's a fucking protest. That's going to happen. It's nothing to call the goddamn National Guard.
You got helmets, you got face shields, you're going to be fine. So This fella's walking by. He says, I got hit by a tear gas canister. And I'm like, oh my God, like, let's get you on the ground. Somebody calls for a medic. Medic comes over and he shows us a hole in his side this big from getting shot like from a few feet away with a projectile that is intended to land a dozen feet or dozens of feet away. So you are supposed to be, when these less than lethal munitions are supposed to be fired at the ground. They're supposed to hit the ground, skip, ricochet, and either hit people or frighten them into retreat.
Yeah.
The officers were firing them directly at people. This guy that was wounded and like his skin in this was destroyed in a perfect circle. Like the skin was completely flattened and just oozing blood in a very strange way. But there's pictures circulating of people who are taking these kinds of wounds. People be hitting with tear gas canisters from a few feet away. And he says, I was at the front line, had my hands up the entire time. And he's a big dude, but like if your hands are up, you're not presenting a threat. And someone had fallen down. He reached down to help that person to their feet. And while he was pulling them up, one of the officers shot him in the side with his tear gas canister, to which he said, dude, I've had my hands up this entire time. I'm not hurt. Like, what are you doing? And the officer's response, which is not documented. But there's a lot of people who are like, prove it. We can't. These are chaotic scenes. You just got to take some anecdotal evidence here. But the officer's response was, yeah, that's how I know that you weren't going to do anything. In response. Yeah, that dude limped 3 blocks before he got medical care. The LAPD motto is to protect and serve, and that is not protection. That is not service.
No.
You know? So if you're going to go to one of these protests, ladies and gentlemen, bring a buddy. Let somebody know beforehand where you are planning to go. If you can, write someone's phone number on your arm. Also, there's a couple of phone numbers that you can call for like legal defense, ACLU. There are resources to write on your body so that if you are detained or something like that, you can say, okay, well, this is the phone number I'm going to call, because they might take all your stuff from you. And like I said, I told my wife I was going to stay far enough away that I wouldn't put myself in danger and then burden my family with my arrest. And so we hung back, and we were maybe, if you look at the footage from Saturday, they shut down the 101. The protesters went onto the 101 freeway, and just a line, like a brick of police squad cars were on the 101, lined up, blocking traffic. No one gets through. And we were like, I want to say 2 blocks away from that, could see everything super duper clearly. The flashbangs are still going off constantly. It does feel a little like a war zone when there's all these explosion sounds. And the police had gotten, they pulled up into near one of the underpasses, right? The protesters are above them. The police have chosen to shelter underneath the overpass, but they've left their cars. They park their cars, they get out of their cars, they walk away from their cars within item dropping distance from this overpass.
Yeah, that felt intentional.
Yeah.
It felt like they wanted those cars to get destroyed.
Yeah. So.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
That is the most violent thing I've seen in this protest, is people pelting a couple cop cars with lime scooters.
Yeah. Well, dropping them on. This is not something where an officer's life was ever in danger.
No.
Because they were underneath the overpass. They transferred over to another side of the overpass.
And they could have left. They stayed under the overpass.
They also could have not gone underneath the overpass to begin with. Yeah, they would have been in the sun. They would have been uncomfortable. It's hot. I was wearing jeans and long sleeves because I was worried about tear gas, and that sucks. So I get it.
But also, traffic going the other way was moving completely normal. They could have hopped over and done that movie shit and been like, I'm a cop. Let me get in your car and fucking take me away from here. They could have had someone come get them the other way, but they stayed and left those cars there. And it felt like they were saying, please destroy these cars so we can show this on TV.
And in response, the police would tilt their weapons right up at that crowd, fire off the more flashbang grenades. Yeah, and it just didn't stop. And at that point, I want to say about 4:45 is when I had to leave to get back to my family, because I had a birthday thing for our closest friends were hosting us for my birthday.
Hey,
didn't want to
happy
miss that.
birthday.
Thank you. I turned 40. It's terrifying.
That's what I'm doing next year.
What?
Turning 50.
Oh my God. You're so youthful.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because I look great. But yeah.
So like, look, I mean, I had very deliberately brought an American flag. I wanted to go black bloc, which is like covering up any identifying features, wearing long sleeves, either a mask or bandana, glasses, hat, everything nondescript, no labels, no logos, because I didn't want to present. If things really took a turn, I wanted my anonymity. And then I was asked to speak, and I was like, all right, I guess I'm not going to have any anonymity there. So let's roll these sleeves up. Didn't end up giving me a whole lot of relief, but it was interesting because there were a few people who confronted me to say, like, why are you carrying that American flag? I'm like, because I'm an American and I'm showing solidarity with my community. I looked like a Proud Boy because the colors that I chose to wear were very muted. I had my jeans. I realized later that my hat was like the standard Proud Boy issue.
I think bringing a tiki torch was a mistake.
There was a couple of chants that, oh God, that's not a joke I can make without repeating the chant. We're going to backpedal off of that one. Sweet. And I was like, no, man, I'm a leftist. I'm committed to this cause. I have a lot of pride in the better parts of America. And I want to take responsibility for the past mistakes and current crimes of America. You know what I mean? Like let's take responsibility for 2 centuries of racialized imperialism. Like we can do that nowadays. I take pride in America. I take pride in John Lewis. I take pride in Bruce Springsteen. I take pride in all the support we've provided places all over the world when famine. I take pride in our innovations. I take pride in, of course, our democracy. I'm a politician. I believe in democracy. I believe in America.
Yeah.
And in those moments when those people were confronting me, it's like, dude, I get it. Like people, traditionally, the oppressor has looked like this. But I'm here to be support. I am not trying to lead the conversation. I'm not trying to lead the charge. I'm trying to be one person and bringing my identity and sharing that with everybody and saying like, this is a multicultural thing. This is everybody. Everybody, even dudes who look like Proud Boys, are standing for justice. And I didn't have the presence of mind to be like, no, I am a proud man. And a man stands for justice. I don't think they were in the mood for
probably not
of shenanigans. Yeah. So from that, after Saturday, we started getting like the neighborhoods sort of spontaneously organized into like sort of ICE watch patrols, where like I'm reporting with a number of other local activists like, hey, we think there might be some agents here. Can you go check it out, verify? I've checked it out. It's okay. There's no agents there right now. The presence of vulnerable individuals suggests that perhaps they were never there. Going around handing out these little know your rights red cards. So people know in Spanish and English, they don't have to cooperate beyond saying their name. If they have ID, they need to produce that. But otherwise, I do not wish to speak with you, answer your questions, or sign or hand any documents based on my Fifth Amendment rights or under Fifth Amendment rights under the U.S. Constitution. I do not give you permission to enter my home based on my Fourth Amendment rights under the United States Constitution unless you have a warrant to enter signed by a judge or magistrate with my name on it that you slide under the door. I do not give you permission to search any of my belongings based on my Fourth Amendment rights. I choose to exercise my constitutional rights. You don't have to be a citizen to be protected by the Constitution.
Yeah.
That's the point of the crowd. Like, that's like, there are people who are trying to, and who have earned a place here. And even that, like the term earn a place here, it's like, well, that sort of puts the onus on them to work. And most of them do. The vast majority of people who are here, documented, undocumented, whatever it is, they're hustling. They're contributing to our economy, billions of dollars in tax revenue, suppressed wages for our growers. It's not necessarily super great, but there's a lot of businesses that really benefit from lower people who are willing to work for lower wages. These people are our neighbors. They are my daycare providers. They are the people who cook at my favorite restaurants. Like, they are the parents of my kids' friends. Like, they are our community. So we are standing up and saying, ICE, get out. They belong here. You don't.
Yeah. I do want to talk about the response to this and the curfew that was imposed. But I also feel like we have to, for people who are not in Los Angeles who are listening to this, cannot stress enough. This is not a citywide thing.
No.
It's being portrayed as if
chaos envelops. Right. They're not riots. It's not chaos. It's very specific places where there are federal things happening or where there are military style raids occurring.
Yeah. There was a fucking WNBA game in downtown LA on Monday night. That's how much the city's being terrorized.
Right.
And it was packed. So it's not what people are saying. It's not citywide chaos.
We had our pride parades.
Yeah.
Pride parades were fine. People were tap dancing.
Yeah. So it's definitely not that. Let us put your mind at ease if you've been watching the national news and they're telling you that.
Well, also the people pushing that narrative have never been to Los Angeles, nor will they ever, because they've been told that God does not live here. It's fine. It's a city. It's cool. We have great food. We have some cool theaters. Come out. Come visit. It's beautiful.
So definitely sending in the National Guard and the Marines was
failing to provide provisions for them too. Housing, food. Yeah.
Yeah. Go look that up. There are images of fucking National Guard troops. They look like they are in CCOT.
Yeah. They're in a kitchen. They're sleeping on top of each other in a kitchen.
Yeah. A kitchen without food. So they don't have food, but
yeah.
So yeah, sending them in was overkill. But I also think, for one thing, I think everyone was expecting violence. Like it felt like that scene in The First Purge, meaning the movie called The First Purge, not The First Purge, which The First Purge was like the 5th or 6th, I think. But there's a scene in that where the government announces the purge and they get all their volunteers and then it starts and they just sit back and wait for the crimes to happen. And the crimes never happen. People are just like, oh yeah, we can just hang out in the streets and the police won't fuck with us. I guess we're going to have a party. That is what LA felt like during these protests. It felt like the government was like, all right, fucking violence is about to start. And it never did.
Yeah. People were angry, but people were also showing solidarity with one another. We were happy to see each other.
I think there was a concerted effort to not let it devolve into any sort of violence. I think people knew that's what they were expecting. And because of all that, I think the LAPD response was fucking overkill. If people haven't seen it, it was live on local news here. And they put this curfew in place.
This is last night.
Yeah, they put this curfew in place last night, meaning Tuesday night?
Tuesday night, yeah. This curfew was affected, I want to say what, like about 4 city blocks or so?
It was a 1 square mile area of downtown LA, which does encompass like LA Live and a bunch of concert venues and shit, which
cool.
I just find that funny.
Really hope Mumford and Sons didn't have any expectations of playing that night.
Mumford and Sons.
Yeah, this is my only reference right now. I'm sorry.
But they put this curfew in place. And for one thing, there were maybe, I'd say like 50, 60 people left, maybe 100 people, let's say. And for one thing, the influx of cars, it's just hundreds of cop cars that just line this street. I asked my wife, who is that? Because at one point it was just these agents in black vans. And I was like, that does not look like the LAPD, but I guess it was. But the first thing they do, they all get out of their cars and literally start running at the protesters, like chasing them. And then they like get them all rounded up. And there just were not enough people to justify that police response. And I think that response was going to happen no matter what. I think, and it did happen no matter what. This felt to me like a show of force. This felt like a message. This felt like America telling Americans, look, this is what the next 4 years are like. Even if you're in fucking liberal California, this is what the next 4 years are like. Like it felt like the launching of the official police state.
Yeah, and we keep hearing Newsom and Rob Bonta and Karen Bass keep saying like, hey, we have the best. The LAPD are the best in the business, and they're the best. They're the strongest. It's like, okay, by what metrics, man? Because I'm seeing a lot of people like being single individuals. An Australian reporter with her back turned. I want to say 26-year-old white woman alone trying to get to her apartment. getting shot at close range deliberately with weapons that are intended to be shot at the ground so that they don't injure people.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like the metric for the best is like scariest, most willing to engage.
Well, that's why I refuse to believe. One, I don't believe that Gavin Newsom didn't know the National Guard was coming. I don't buy that for 1 second. I don't necessarily think he and Trump are not on the same page. Like, they have to pretend to be fighting, but the government wants to see how this goes in court. Like, they want to know, all right, how far can we go with protesters? And it feels to me like what they're hoping for, Democrats at least, is to like somehow applaud Gavin Newsom for like showing restraint and not being like, yeah, fuck it, send in the National Guard. And it's like, he didn't even need to send in the amount of police he sent in. And I will agree with Karen Bass begrudgingly in that this felt like California being a test case. California being, all right, let's try it, see how it goes there, because everywhere else is smaller than California, mostly, especially smaller than LA. And it just felt intentional. It felt like Gavin Newsom auditioning to run for president. That's what this feels like to me. It feels like, and not just that, but also a test to see, are the police militarized enough? Are they militarized enough that we don't have to send the military in to break up protests? We don't have to send the National Guard. We have equipped our police with enough fucking military grade equipment that they are a military now. And the LAPD proved that they are. They got the training. They understood the fucking assignment because they didn't have to shoot anyone. Like, the way they broke that protest up, it was like breathtaking to watch. Like, it was a choreographed effort. They knew what the fuck they were doing. You can tell they had been planning for this kind of shit. And from a police standpoint, it went off flawlessly. And it was scary to watch. Like I said, that felt like the military parade to me. I know we're going to have one in Washington, D.C., but them breaking that protest up the way they did, that felt like the real military parade.
Right. I mean, it's easy to do a showcase of your weapons with people who have already agreed in advance and demonstrated for a couple of hours and a couple of days that they pose no physical threat to people in riot gear who are armed. And I mean, like, saw another streamer who was there, I want to say on Monday or Tuesday, looking at that in the same area of the Federal Building, National Guards at the Federal Building, and National Guards on the 7th floor of that Federal Building, firing non-lethal rounds indiscriminately into the crowd, just like taking pot shots for funsies. Like,
it's not getting a ton of attention, I don't think, but I saw this live on TV in Santa Ana. They pointed a actual fucking gun at a dude, and he was just taunting from the sidewalk. I feel like if you watched what happened in Santa Ana, I feel like they wanted that building to get stormed because there was a huge protest and there were like 15 federal agents. That was it, guarding that front door. And even then, it didn't get violent. The protesters didn't see that as an opportunity and be like, oh, there's very few of them and there's so many of us. We could just January 6th.
Yeah, this is not the Bastille we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
The worst it got was a dude in a yellow hoodie was taunting National Guard forces. And one of them pointed a for real fucking gun at that dude. Like, I legitimately thought he was going to get shot on TV.
I remember in 2020, after the most intense of the George Floyd protests, like, the National Guard was brought in. And from what I remember, when they were just guarding Starbucks and the Marriott or whatever, like, they were chill. Like, National Guardsmen, like, they don't really have as much to worry about because they've got a very narrow mission. They have to protect this one building. That's it. And, like, it's scary to see these heavily armed people on your street, but it's like, I rode my bike past them and felt like I honestly, like, I have less to worry about from this National Guardsman than apparently the LAPD. who are going to sprint and attack, who are going to use their weapons.
That's something I feel like we should clarify too, because a lot of the talk about this nationally is, oh, Trump deployed the National Guard, Trump deployed Marines. Yeah, but not for what you're thinking. Like, the National Guard and the Marines are not the ones breaking up these protests. They're here by law. They can only act in a like protection capacity. They can guard buildings. They can guard other troops. They can't do law enforcement shit unless Trump invokes the Insurrection Act. They can't do any of that shit. And he hasn't invoked it because nothing in LA has happened to justify it.
Yeah.
At all.
I mean, Bonta is suing, our Attorney General is suing the federal government for the misuse of these National Guardsmen.
Yeah.
What if an appliance emergency didn't have to be? If your appliances suddenly decided they were done, don't stress. Best Buy has you covered with a wide variety of major appliances from trusted brands, in stock and available now. So you don't have to worry about laundry piling up, refilling the fridge, or that big dinner party you're hosting. Because Best Buy has the knowledge and expertise to get you the right appliance for your home. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
You need a vacation, so why not come play in LA? Fill your days with fun and let Los Angeles dazzle you with iconic landmarks, epic scenery, and stunning coastlines. And when the sun goes down, it's the perfect place to enjoy world-class dining and nightlife. Let play lead the way and soak up all this city has to offer. Start planning your LA getaway now at visitcalifornia.com.
Hey Ryan, that was a fast trip. It was like you teleported.
Yeah, just got in. I'll get all my expenses logged, I promise.
Oh, no, you're okay. SAP Concur uses advanced AI, so your expense report will practically write itself. Quite the breakthrough. It's like we've been teleported into the future.
All right.
So, just curious, would you give us written permission to convert your matter into energy patterns and reassemble you at, say, random travel destinations?
Margaret, are you building a teleporter?
No. Yes.
SAP Concur helps your business move forward faster. Learn more at concur.com.
Hi, welcome to IKEA.
This is my college campus.
Correct, but I see you're on IKEA.com ordering some college items.
My daughter's room is pretty bare. We need a lamp, some comfy pillows, her favorite stuffy.
Dad! With pickup options, we've got what you need to conveniently order IKEA. Literally anywhere.
Sweet. More time for gaming.
And studying. Wait, where are you going now?
Got to show the ultimate Frisbee team how easy it is to order from IKEA. Get IKEA whenever, wherever, however you want. Choose from thousands of pickup locations, affordable delivery options, and more.
Saying this earlier to my boss, like, it feels like Trump is playing with his life-sized action figures, going like, yeah, Sergeant Cool Boy says I'm here to be cool. And then, no, you can't do that, Sergeant Cool Boy. You're going to be mean to those protesters. I can do whatever I want. I'm Sergeant Cool Boy.
Yeah.
Like, that's his life. That is his entire life. And he wants a happy birthday. He wants people to forget that he's in the Epstein files. So in order to do that, Stephen Miller gets, hey, off the chain. And it's what makes this like the test case, so to speak, is that we've seen in a lot of neighborhoods the neighborhood coming out and defending individuals from immigration raids. Like San Diego, I remember seeing a whole crowd of neighborhood people like, get out of here, like back, and the federal agents are backing up. They get in the car, they drive away. In multiple places, was it Maryland, Massachusetts? Like, we are socially documenting on the ground impromptu neighborhood defense actions against these invasions. And this is like, okay, well, let's scale it up. Let's do a bunch of them at the same time. Let's use military tactics against our own people. And then, oh, look, they don't like it. Oh, they're coming out to protest. Well, we better let's see what happens. Let's fire some tear gas canisters at some reporters. There was a photographer that I spoke to, got a picture of me holding the flag. He's like, hey, let me get your contact info. I got in touch with him. I'm like, hey, yeah, that photo ready. I'd love that. And he's like, it's going to be a bit. I got shot twice and I'm moving a little more slowly. Shot twice. A photographer holds a camera, not a gun. It is not a weapon. It is a tool to document. They're not going to throw their $4,000 cameras at the cops. Yeah. That's their livelihood. It is their paintbrush. They do not pose you a threat. And yet, he got 2 shots.
Yeah, I thought a CNN reporter was going to get arrested I mean, he
detained. He was
got
detained.
And they just moved him to the other side. On KCAL last night, I wish I remembered this reporter's name because good for her. But when the LAPD started that surge into the curfew area, one of these black vans, they pulled up and the guy just rolls down the window and goes, "Leave." And she was like, "Where do I go?" And he goes, "Go home." And she's a reporter. Like, they said reporters could still be in the curfew area.
Press. Identified with press. Hats, vests, like guys holding microphones.
The fact that she didn't leave, fucking good for her. Because what that reminds me of, this is one of the most chilling goddamn things I think I've ever heard. I don't remember which war it was, but I want to say Grenada or Honduras, when we were in the 80s just invading every Latin American country we could. At one point, they asked one of the people who led this fucking invasion, like, what do you credit with how well it went and how fast it went? And his actual answer was the media wasn't allowed in. That's terrifying. That because he's literally just saying no one could watch what we were doing. So things get a lot easier. And when that guy pulled up and told that reporter to leave, I was like, oh, this is going to get fucking ugly right now.
I mean, they want it to get ugly. Los Angelinos are, by and large, not taking that bait.
Yes, correct.
It's like, I want to trust law enforcement. Like, I'm privileged enough to be here in Burbank where our law enforcement agency, I didn't have a lot to complain about. They're very responsible that I've seen. I've had a regular protest at the airport against Develo Airlines and against ICE and against specifically Stephen Miller. And the Burbank PD has been terrific in saying, like, we want you to be able to exercise your First Amendment rights. At some point, you might have to scale it up and actually get in the way and like interrupt like the airport somehow. But like up until that point, like, please work with us. And it's been really great. I feel safe in Burbank thanks to Burbank PD. I cannot say the same of LAPD. Like, they have such a gnarly reputation. My cousin was going to apply. He did actually. He applied to be a cop in, I want to say, a dozen cities in Southern California because he would have made an excellent cop. And the only one he didn't actually go for was LAPD because of their reputation, because they're so aggro. And yes, they have a much larger mandate. They have a much larger jurisdiction. There's a lot more people. And so therefore they're going to see a lot worse things. But this was not one of those worse things. This was as compliant and nonviolent as any protest I've ever seen. There have been no fatalities. I haven't seen a single broken window other than like a windshield on a cop car that was parked surreptitiously underneath an overpass. And then the 5 burned Waymos, which, sorry, Waymo, your business model sucks and I don't trust your cars. Like,
yeah, fuck a Waymo.
And again, don't light stuff on fire, guys. But at the same time, could have been a false flag. No idea.
It's like my wife keeps saying, you see worse when a team wins a fucking championship. Let Philadelphia win another Super Bowl and see what happens in that goddamn city. Like, this protest was nothing remarkable compared to any other protest that has happened for anything. I would say it was less aggressive than a lot of protests we've seen recently.
I saw people stopping other people from attempting to break into a store and steal stuff. Like, people are doing it. There were 2 girls on the 101 freeway, and I hope that doesn't come up. Sexist young women, thank you, who were sort of marshaling the protesters and saying, like, keep a distance here, like, hey, stay back a little bit. They had gone on and actually engaged with the police, I think using their privilege as unassuming, non-threatening small women to be like, hey, like, these people are not going to present a threat. They haven't presented a threat, and we're going to make sure that things don't get worse. And I saw them corral people, say, like, stay back this over here. And then the LAPD advanced.
Yeah.
So the desire to remain nonviolent is extremely strong, even in the face of state violence.
Yeah. And again, you can tell they wanted that violence and they're just not getting it. So they sent in the military.
So they got to claim it anyway. Oh, there's 5 robot cars on fire, and I guess we pepper sprayed one of our own. All right, let's get the Space Force here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really over the top. Who knows what things will be like by the time this episode goes up.
I recall also there's a video that was making the rounds. There's a few videos that everybody should see. There's the video of the Australian reporter getting shot from behind when she posed no threat to literally anyone. And she was the closest person to this police officer. And by close, I mean she was maybe 6 feet away from them.
You can see him turn and shoot her.
Raise his weapon, fire. There's another video of a young woman, I believe last night, there's a black woman recording a woman going across the street trying to get to her apartment. There's a whole line of cops, and then they just shoot her because she's like, I need to go this way. Like, how am I supposed to get home? And then she's weeping, and this person runs over and administers aid. Like, watch that one.
Yeah.
And then there's another one, which I think is less necessary, but like, there's a black helicopter with a yellow stripe that had been unloading munitions on Saturday morning, Friday night or Saturday morning. That helicopter was in the air watching us the entire time. A black helicopter with a yellow stripe. I have no idea what agency this helicopter was from. And that's the other thing is like these ICE raids, we don't know if those are legit agents or Proud Boy cosplayers because there have been robberies by people who are claiming to be ICE agents. And if you don't see 2 badges in a form of identification, then they might not be a legit federal agent. But at the same time, there was a video where a young man is trying to ask a cop, like, dude, give me your badge number. What is your name and badge number? What is your name and badge number? And he cusses him out. It's like, but you know what? If you're a cop, like, you should be able to be cussed out without then shooting the guy over a pane of glass in what appeared to be the gut. Like, we should be able to get your name and badge number. Like, to protect and serve, like, yeah, there will sometimes be adversarial situations. But if you want to purport to honorably discharge your duties, put your name behind it. Put your badge number behind it. Name aside, give us your badge number, man.
I would add to the list of videos people should watch. I was sure you were going to bring it up, but there's the horse video.
Oh, my God. I forgot about the horse video.
Where, for one thing, they deployed cops on horses.
A lot scarier than that sounds.
Yeah. Can those horses just go be horses, please? Like, why do we have to, like, it feels like animal abuse, kind of. But in this video, and if you just Google LA protest horse video, it's going to fucking come up. This guy is, for one thing, trying to like just get up and leave. They're telling him to leave. And when he gets up, they keep like dragging him back to the ground. And it looks like they're trying to get a horse to stomp this guy's head. Like, they keep getting him on the ground and then like advancing their horses right to the edge of his head. And I'm shocked he didn't get fucking stomped in the head by one of those horses. It's an insane video.
And then after the horses pass, the officers get on top of him still. Yeah. And I guess like one more video, I'm sure everyone has seen it. And honestly, this one kind of feels like, it feels momentous, like Tank Man feels momentous, not as sublime as Tank Man, the ultimate expression of humanity, in my opinion. Happened on my birthday in 1989. For Tank Man, beautiful. There's that one dude in, I want to say Paramount or something like that. There was an ice raid. There's like a Ford Bronco trying to leave. Dude, there's a bunch of people around this white SUV, and the guy's got his hands in front of the vehicle, and he's trying to stop the car himself. And he goes for maybe a half a block trying to keep this ICE vehicle from leaving. And he gets eventually basically runned over, and then the car backs up and drives away real fast.
He hit his head so fucking hard when he fell. Do we know, is that guy okay?
I don't know. But like, there's a Tank Man vibe to that person and their bravery, trying to defend their community.
To give people another idea of how inconsequential whatever violence there has been in these protests really is, the FBI's main manhunt right now for criminals involved in these protests is a guy who was throwing rocks at ICE cars when they drove past.
Cars.
A guy throwing rocks at cars. That is, the FBI has an intense manhunt underway for a guy throwing rocks at cars. If he was throwing cars, then I would want the government to track him down.
And we got a Hulk situation there.
Yeah, get him off the streets. But no, he's throwing rocks at cars. So when that is public enemy number one, when that is the most wanted criminal from these protests, these protests are not what the government is saying they are at all.
So, I mean, I would like to see a unified demand from this movement, because ICE out of LA, a great place to start, but abolish ICE, man. Like, they are not helping. They are making everything worse. Instead of providing people a clear path to citizenship, they are interrupting that path to citizenship and saying, right, you're a criminal now because we just decided. So off you go to a country you haven't been since you were 4 years old. I think we got to ban private prisons, because who do you think is benefiting from these temporary stays, these week-long stays for people while they get processed and then shipped out to Mexico City or CCOT or whatever the hell? Like, this police state has a private beneficiary, and it's private prisons. They got to go. We got to get rid of these. Yeah, it is such a horrid thing to see the violence, but I want the takeaway to be pride in Los Angeles for standing up for our own. It's the first they came for the communists, and I said nothing, for I was not a communist. It's like our version of that is first they came for the undocumented, and we said, fuck you! Get out! Yeah. Get out, ICE.
And even that first they came for thing, I said this we made our WNBA podcast also about the protests this week, because fuck it, why not? I said this on that episode. If you're a right winger looking at this and being like, yeah, this is how the government should act, what do you think Gavin Newsom's going to do when he's president and you decide to act up in the streets? This is going to fucking come for you too. You should, no matter what side you're on, you shouldn't want the government to be acting like this. There is no side that should be cool with this. And if you are, you're dumb. Yeah. You're dumb and naive about how much either side of this government, this federal government, gives a shit about you. This will come for you too, in some way or the other. Absolutely.
We don't need our police forces to shoot tear gas at people's ribs. That does not make us safer. We don't need less lethal rounds intended to be shot at gravel or the road, instead shot at people's legs so that they fall over with a broken shin. We don't need like tens to hundreds of millions of dollars worth of deployment to do a display of force in a situation that's not calling for it. You talk about waste. It was never about waste or the Doge nonsense. Like, that was never about waste, because they are only too happy to waste money on stuff like this overkill, puffed up chest, like tough guy nonsense.
Military parades. You kidding me? Is this North Korea? Like, leave them in the hangar. Go get some ice cream. We don't need that. Also, I mean, I know we have a lot of military equipment, but is putting all our military equipment just out in public like that all at once, is that smart? That feels like an opportunity someone could exploit.
Right. I saw Andor.
So I think that's our episode, right?
I think so. Yeah.
We did it. Again, this goes up for the public on Monday. So I don't know where this situation will be at by then.
We're recording this at 1:00 on Wednesday, the 11th.
Yes. And it is the night after the curfew in downtown LA was imposed.
Well, Trump's already saying, thank God I deployed the military because things have calmed down. Because things were already non-violent. But now he's taking credit for it's not getting worse because of all this money I've spent on people to stand around and shoot individuals.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough, and don't take this as me crediting the LAPD or Gavin Newsom in any way, but the military didn't do shit to stop any of these protests. And I'm not saying that as, oh, why didn't the military? I'm saying if Trump is telling you that, if fucking Fox News is telling you that, if your fucking MAGA bitch uncle is telling you that, wrong. We live here. We live in Los Angeles. We've been watching this shit happen.
I was there.
The National Guard is guarding buildings. They are guarding. They are not doing any of this shit in the name of breaking up protests. That is a fucking lie. You're being lied to.
Well, they're saying they're breaking up riots.
Oh, yeah. Well, there haven't been any.
They're not rioting.
Yeah. That's the other thing. There has been nary a fucking riot.
We got 3 windshields and 5 Waymos is the death toll of the Los Angeles ICE out of LA.
We got a notorious terrorist loose on the streets throwing rocks at cars.
Yeah, I guess the moral is if you're going to throw rocks at cars, wear a motorcycle helmet so they have no idea what to do with you.
Oh, I think someone told on him because if you look at the video, you can't really see his face. I think someone just ratted on him.
Oh, they've actually got his name, face?
Oh, yeah. There's a suspect out there that they're looking for. It's a full-on manhunt for that guy throwing
rocks.
Cars.
Right.
Oh.
They're going to make him buff out all those dents.
I've never felt so unsafe in LA as I am right now, knowing that there is a rock thrower somewhere on the loose.
Yeah, let's leave it with this. I felt safe in that crowd. Look, and I know I'm a white dude. I'm carrying an American flag, but believe you me, there were people who like confronted me about it. But ultimately, I felt safe.
There's also no world where the police are going to be like, "Oh, don't shoot that one. He's holding an American flag."
Yeah, I wish I thought of that. Yeah, but like I said, we keep us safe. I've provided aid to someone who'd been wounded. I felt safe in that crowd. I did not feel safe near our police, near LAPD specifically.
Yeah, it's been very over the top. It's been insane to watch. I keep getting high heart rate notifications from my Apple Watch.
And look, Saturday, no King's Day, baby. We're gonna be back out there. There are multiple places here in LA where there are going to be significant actions. The Van Nuys Federal Building, Indivisible Studio City. I don't remember where their specific location is, but there's gonna be there's 1,000 people have signed up for that so far. Downtown LA, no King's Day. We've been planning that have been planned for months. Nationwide thing, and God, the cities all over the country who are standing up for Los Angeles. The small towns across the country. I've seen videos and photos standing up with Los Angeles. It's like, I never expected other places in this country to go, "We've got your back, LA," because we are so often mocked relentlessly. But people we are Americans and we stand together. And that is so beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's our episode for now. Danger, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
On short notice. We just planned this out via text last night.
It is important to me to talk about these issues.
Yeah, or no, Monday night. I don't know. Whatever.
It was recently.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone who watched us live stream this. I appreciate that. And if you're listening at home, abolish ICE. What do we have anything? This feels like a great time to plug stuff. Follow me on Blue Sky. That's all I got. Anything for you, Danger?
Lots. Boycott a Velo. Do not fly a Velo. Never again. Let them know. Like, I used to fly a Velo, and I won't anymore. I mean, I haven't actually used them, but I want you to tell them, boycott a Velo. They're complicit in Trump's human trafficking. If you're in Milwaukee, go ahead and give Air Charter Express a call and tell them that they are fascist ghouls and that they suck. Just can't boycott them because we're not their target market. Countless Thousands has a new album coming out, Woke Moralists. I heard what I imagine to be the last mixes very recently. Oh, it's going to be so good. That is coming out in July. I believe our release date is July 13th. Please hold me to that because we've been trying to get this album out for 18 months. Blah. Yeah. And then also, look, I'll be running for Burbank City Council again next year. So keep your ear to the ground. But also just in general, I will see you all out there on the street. So believe in yourselves. Believe in America. We can do this.
And that's it. Let's get out of here. Danger. Say goodbye.
Later on, everybody. Godspeed.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you.